Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Rant. It's Greg here again on the channel with Toby, and today we're going to be talking about the official trailer for Andor, the new TV series that's coming to Disney Plus in September. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be reviewing the trailer for the new Andor series. We're going to watch it and react at the same time. We have actually seen the trailer, so it gives us a little bit of insight into what's coming, which is quite nice.
And it's the official trailer. It's kind of the second trailer. There was a teaser trailer, wasn't there?
Yeah, the teaser trailer just gave a lot of flashes of imagery. You know, they couldn't really tell what was going on, and this is a bit more in depth, isn't it? It's a good couple of minutes long.
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't we get on and watch that, and then we can see what we think. Okay, so here's the trailer for Andor.
Beautiful opening scenes.
Yeah, beautiful views.
Already get a sense of scale, don't we?
Absolutely.
It's got an AK-47.
Yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, and look,
look, this massive ship comes in. There's something's going on.
It looks like
it's
planet. Taking off. I presume this is where it's been taken off and built.
Yeah.
Or...
You just walk in like you belong.
This is the.
You just walk in like you belong.
So proud of themselves.
Yeah.
So fat and satisfied.
Yeah.
They can't imagine.
Can't imagine.
That someone like me.
Yeah.
Would ever get inside their house.
So, I wonder if he's...
It's feeling very Rogue One at this point, isn't it?
The
Rogue One vibe is very strong.
Definitely.
You've got those death... you've got the Death Troopers, whatever they're called. From Rogue One.
That's right, they were in Rogue One, weren't they?
Mm.
I need all the heroes I can get.
That looks like the group that were in Rogue One with...
Call it what you will.
Forrest Whitaker.
Saul Guerrero, isn't it? And I'm surprised they've got the actor as well, Forrest Whitaker, because he's quite a...
He is. Yeah.
Well, I didn't like that line. Pockets of fermenting.
You're in my...
No, it's just stupid, isn't it?
It's a bit of a weird line.
Fish.
Yeah.
Are you a thief?
Are you a fish or a thief?
You're slipping.
I don't know why they're highlighting these really bad lines.
I've just been hiding for
too long. It's weird, isn't it? But I tell you what, there's a lot of different scenes, and it's quite epic, isn't it, in its scale?
There's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
What are you really doing?
Yeah. It's working on lots of levels, you can see.
It is.
Looks like.
She looks so like Princess Leia, doesn't she?
I'm tired of Lucy.
Do you think that's supposed to be her?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think it is actually. I think it's another character, but they seem to have picked her. She looks like her.
Yeah, well, this would only be a few years before.
It's true.
It's a
3-episode premiere.
It's a packed old thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've got to say, let's turn that off.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I mean, my initial reaction to that trailer is one of optimism. Now, call me a fool, but I felt when I watched that, after the Obi-Wan experience, why I should look at any Star Wars series with hope. It surprises me, but I watched it and it felt totally different. It felt much more cinematic rather than close quarters. Even when it's close quarters, it felt very cinematic, very visceral, very gritty. I felt like there was dirt. There was that world dragged into the scene.
Absolutely. I believe there's been a lot more set building and a lot more on set, on location sort of filming. They do a lot. They've done a lot in the other series with the volume, which is that sort of room with all the screens, which works great in lots of different locations, but
like deserts,
you can't quite grab that same feeling, can you, from this? And I mean, when you saw it that way, it panned across, didn't it, over those sort of, was it Scotland you were saying? It was
Scotland, the Highlands, yeah.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of good cinematic imagery, isn't there, that we're seeing there.
It's quite funny because it's quite the opposite to Obi-Wan, you know, and elements of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett that felt quite different. I felt like this was a spin-off from Rogue One rather than a spin-off from Star Wars. You know, I felt like there was much more I keep using the word cinematic feel to it. It just felt bigger, more impressive.
It did. I'm glad that it seemed like there was a lot more of the, you know, like there was several space fights there. There was lots of different ships that you saw.
Yeah.
Lots
I think
of
maybe part of it.
I
think part of it is because this has been in production for quite a few years now, isn't it? So it tagged on to the back almost of a better time in the Star Wars canon, when before some of these crappy TV shows have kind of been rolled out. We've got this is kind of left over from the films that were pretty good in my mind. You know, the Star Wars films, you know, that came out.
The
get a lot of criticism,
you know, I totally agree. I liked Rogue One. The more I watch it, the more I seem to like it, you know. I know
I'm not a big fan of Diego Luna, I'll be honest with you.
I know you've not been a fan of the Cassian character.
Cassian Andor.
I'm wondering where he's going to be part. I know it's called Andor, but I think it's going to be part of a cast, you know. We were talking in Obi-Wan that there wasn't enough good characters, you know, and that we would have some development, but they're going to obviously have Mon Mothma, you know, coming. She's there. You know, you had Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera, you know. You've got Stellan Skarsgård. I can't even say his surname. Skarsgård.
What a brilliant surname he's got as well. I mean, it's he's like that's out of a Nordic god film, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Well, he is, isn't he? He's Scandinavian, I think. So but he looks like he plays a key role there. And there's a few bits where you see, obviously there's one bit where he's flying a ship and he's fighting some of the TIE fighters, but then there's another bit where you see him and he looks like is he a shop owner or is he some sort of wealthy merchant or something? His hair's a lot longer. It looks almost like a disguise, isn't it?
Someone who's of note, a wealthy person.
Yes.
I think what we can see here, and something that is underlying the whole show, is that everybody's leading a double life to a certain extent.
Yes.
You know, they're there's a subterfuge and there's spies and there's like this underlying story that for each one, they live in fear of being discovered. They're on the edge. And I think if you can imbue any character with that type of background, it gives a real sense of excitement to the story, which I think they're really seizing upon.
There's an existing threat always there, then, isn't there? They could be discovered. They've got to try and keep things secret, you know, and that does add some real level to it, doesn't it? It makes
I think so.
You know, have to approach things in a different way, and I like that bit where you see her coming in, Mon Mothma coming in to see Stellan Skarsgård. They both look like they're both in disguise, and you know, maybe that would be a good thing that they don't know whose side they're on or what's they're going to, you know, have to play off against each other. Can they trust each other? You know, that woman. He
certainly greeted her, didn't he? He greeted her with. He
greeted her. Yes, it was very much like he's hi, I'm a shopper, you know, or whatever, and she's one of the senators, isn't she? So. And you also saw, you know, the whole Senate, you know, the big room with the Senate, which to be honest, I've never been a big fan of the way that's all laid out. I think it's
entirely impractical, if you ask me.
Yeah, and too digital and too, you know, far-fetched, and I know Star Wars is full of these rooms where it's cavernous, you know.
It's a throwback from the prequels, isn't it? I mean,
it is,
which were a digital nightmare.
Yeah,
you know, so
absolutely.
I don't know why they hold on to it. They could redesign it a bit. They could create some new design. That doesn't
well,
seem
now that
so
the Emperor
symmetrical.
was taking over, the Empire was becoming stronger, and it was kind of becoming more. They could have done something different there, couldn't they? But I've always thought that's a bit of a funny room, and that whole thing. I think
it was a clever idea that didn't really work. You can imagine go, oh, this is a great idea. A little pods, they can all float around and do this thing. But actually, in reality, when you look at it, you think, well, actually, they'd probably just bang into each other, and they probably wouldn't.
Well, in episode 3 as well.
well.
In episode 3 as well, they had that bit where Yoda is fighting the Emperor, and he's like picking them up and throwing them, isn't he? And Yoda and that sort of thing, and trying to kill him. So
I've dismissed that from my mind. And I have to go back and watch that.
I sometimes wonder if they make these visual things so that it's a good set for a fight or a good set for some action.
I don't know. I think there's some guy who thought it was good and it didn't work out.
Yeah, yeah, probably. But we obviously saw a kid in the beginning of that trailer, didn't we? And I presume that's him as a child finding out the harsh realities of what the Empire are doing. I presume that big quarry was them coming and stealing all their resources to build their ships and so on.
Yeah, and quite excitedly, you see Cassian in a number of guises, if you like, as we go through this. So the child, we see him in his kind of rebel state, but we also see him dressed as an Imperial Guard, don't we?
That's right.
Lined up.
Yes.
So I mean, there's some speculation about whether he actually was part of the Guard or whether he's in disguise. So there are questions,
well, at the same time he's saying, if you're going to steal from people, you've got to just go in like you own, you're part of it, Yeah, and I wonder if that's him undercover. He's taken the guise of a captain or something and gone in there. But you're right, he could well be. I mean, we saw that with Tala, didn't we? In the Obi-Wan series, she had joined up in the hope of it being something good. And it was actually something bad, wasn't it? So she was then fighting from within. Would they do the same?
I mean, he may
again?
be deep. It may be deep cover. It may be deep cover.
I think he
does spend some time,
because you've seen him as a child, and you've seen, and when you think about what he says in Rogue One, and he has this big row, doesn't he, with Daisy, her character, and. They basically, he says, I've been doing this my whole life, fighting this my whole life. So I think it's encouraging because, like you say, you see me in these different guises, and that could quite easily sort of make you think, actually, they're going to have some character development in this series.
This is true. We're witnessing amazing. The character arcs in this trailer. It's pretty evident that some of these characters have arcs of something interesting.
Yes,
and they actually, another thing that is talking about the richness that seems to present itself in the trailer. There's quite a bit of concept art thrown up in what we see. So not only do the characters have this kind of depth potentially, we are seeing them drawing upon the history of Star Wars in some fascinating ways. Like there's like an early model X-wing in there. Which looks
I noticed that down in the quarry, wasn't it? It was down in that where he was meeting with Sal Guerrera. There was something down there. You saw that character with the tubes that came out of his face.
Tubes they call them, don't they?
Right. He was there, and so there's going to be obviously crossover with that series.
It's good.
That is good. The only thing I need a little bit careful is when they capture Andor. In Rogue One, and it's like they don't know him, so they've got to just be a bit careful how they cross these things over. Do you know what I mean?
That's that whole that do you remember careful line you got to walk? It's
really got to be careful.
He's
they could do
cell, isn't he? And he escapes with the pilot.
That's right. And the other guys that were taken as well. And
that's true.
So
does he ever confront Warwick? Does he ever confront
Forrest Whitaker?
Forrest Whitaker.
I don't. I think he's just put in the cage. I think she's taken to Forrest Whitaker. So but I know that the guy with the tubes probably saw him. So I just wonder if But then you forget people that you see, don't you? You forget things. That's just a quick.
He's just one of many prisoners,
thing.
maybe.
Yeah. But yes, you're right. There's some of that concept art was quite interesting. There was also an early concept of a Star Destroyer that's in there, and it's got these big, big curved
dishes,
like radars on the side.
Radar dishes. And I think they look a bit stupid, if you ask me.
They do look a bit daft. I can see why they've done that. But I also think when you think back to the end of episode 3, and there's that era, there were Star Destroyers, but they were a different style, weren't they? They weren't the ones that we see in the original films. They were kind of a slightly different shape. They were similar, but so I wonder if it's kind of like, right, this is the middle step from getting from those ships, from the clone, from Revenge of the Sith to,
maybe, or the standard. Maybe they have a slightly different function. Maybe they're more of a communications ship, rather than a Star Destroyer. Rather than a destroyer.
That's true, because it's got the dishes and things. It could be, like you say, a communication. That's a good idea. Yeah, I'm
just wondering whether that might be some kind of thing. I like it when they tie into these original concepts and throw it in there, because on the face of it, you're absorbing all this really interesting visual culture, and it subconsciously enriches your experience, and you get a sense of that when you're watching something like Obi-Wan, and there's very little reference to the past. Maybe when we're in the homestead, that looked quite good, but otherwise it was pretty devoid of historical reference. And I just felt that I looked at it, just felt
sometimes some really weird bits that they've tried to explain. Like they gave Luke Skywalker that little ship, which was kind of like an inconsequential thing in A New Hope. He flies it for about 2 seconds in New Hope. You know what I mean? They added a couple of bits like that in, which I thought, I just totally pointless.
I just think back, and all I can think of is like the desert scenes, a lot of darkness. It was very dark. In this, there were maybe 1 or 2 scenes, but even when they were in these rooms with the flickering screens, and when Cassian as a boy is exploring these wrecks, it's dark, but it's full of information, and it's really, really good. I think the one nice thing we can definitely say when we watch this visually, it's going to be enthralling. Whether they get the storyline right, we'll see. But as far as I can see, production wise, it looks really good.
Yeah, I think it does. I'm like you. I'm pretty hopeful here. This is not good. Because I think when we knew Obi-Wan was coming, we thought to ourselves, how are they going to fuck up Obi-Wan's backstory now? With this, it's not any of the major characters that we're really affecting. And they can do. It looks like there's a planet where there's a big dam, and all this sort of thing. So I wonder if there's a mission to go and destroy this dam, which is providing energy for the Empire, things like that. They can all be things that are totally outside of, and this is what we've been kind of craving for, isn't it? Some new stories, some new characters. Yes, they have tied it to Cassian Andor, but you look at all the other people that popped up on there. There's a young woman, isn't there, in it, who could be his sister, could be, I don't know, a love interest, I don't know. But again, they are going to create some more decent characters here.
I think so.
And I think that could be really good, There's
a Sgt Kostek who looked quite interesting character.
Right.
I think I quite like the idea of delving into some of the procedural ways of the Empire. I find that quite interesting. How they take on planets, how their officers are.
It'd be nice
ordered.
To see a bit more of that, wouldn't it? How they're taking over and how they're doing these things.
I think we'll see a generational approach to that in this.
Yeah.
Because we've got it's working when he was younger, so we're going to see how that has evolved, which I think is fascinating. They use that sort of thing in the Clone Wars and I always found it interesting. They go to planets, or rebels go to planets and find the Imperials there and have to deal with them, and I think that we're getting a bit of that in this. So no,
and,
hopeful.
I'm looking forward to it. I think they have moved it back a couple of weeks, partly because I think there's some other stuff that's coming out which is going to be around it. But I mean, visual wise, it didn't fit. The other thing that was good, it didn't feel like it was just a rehash of the teaser trailer. There was plenty of other stuff, wasn't there?
I was surprised by that, actually.
Do you know what I mean? There was plenty of other stuff. There was only a couple of bits which seemed very similar, but I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be enjoyable. Like you say, if you can just get the storyline right and not too inconsistent with the rules, then I think we could be onto a good series there. I
just hope that Diego Luna, he does a good job. It's in his hands to a certain extent.
It's whether he can carry it, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, he's. I find it a bit emotionless sometimes, which isn't always a bad thing. I just feel like he's put in situations where I expect more of a reaction, whereas he got some, really sort of dangerous or sad situations, and he's just doesn't really show it. Now that may be him, maybe it's some actors are like that, aren't they? You just get them, you get this pretty bland.
People are, aren't they? Yeah,
exactly. And I think that just doesn't reflect who they are. And often you get with an actor, you get who they are as that actor. They're not character actors, so to speak. This is when you meet him in real life, that's who they are on screen. But I think maybe that might be what this character's like. So we'll see. But feeling positive.
And I they've obviously there's other bits. K2S9, he's a character that could come up. There was a little glimpse of them working in a factory or something. I wonder if that's where they're building droids. It might be that he manages to reprogram one of those droids and go off, as his buddy. But they haven't shown that sort of character. No. So that's good as well, because that can come later if they're going to do 2 or 3 series of this, because that's what I think they've said, isn't it? That they've booked in a few series. That could be further down the line, that he meets him and this is just him becoming part of the Rebel Alliance, and that kind of starting to take off.
Yeah, the on Internet Movie Database, Tony Gilroy is signed as the creator. He's done some he's sort of been in charge, executive producer of some, House of Cards.
That's good.
So not a lot of things, but some, stuff that
political.
Is a bit kind of political heavyweight type stuff.
I don't mind if there's a little bit more of that sort of political sort of side of things in it,
No, me either.
Not to the extent they went with episode 1, that was just boring, wasn't it? But a bit of intrigue like that is good, because it helps to drive the plot. It helps to give them a reason why they're doing it. I think that's I quite looking forward to that. If that guy's House of Cards is a great series, until they got rid of Kevin Spacey. I know that's
bit controversial there, really, because
bit controversial.
He's not exactly
not flavour of the month, is he?
Yeah, I mean he's also got some writing credits for quite a few films. So this guy, he's like The Bourne Supremacy and The Great.
That's good, because that's an action
The Devil's
film,
Advocate. Yeah. So I think that he's pretty serious. He's a pretty serious guy. That's who good. He hasn't got any of those stupid. You don't look down at it and think, oh, he's got stupid films on there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Still pretty serious, highbrow stuff. So hopefully he can inject that into the show.
Yeah, brilliant.
We'll see that. We'll see that come.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Of course, we'll be reviewing it here on the channel.
Yes. Well, absolutely. Well, this is set to come out in 21st of September. There's actually going to be 3 episodes that day. So you're going to get a good flavour of it. That's quite nice. I think that's because they have moved it a couple of weeks, so they're just going to sort of catch up suddenly by it being through, you know. But that's I quite like a little binge now and then of these sorts of things, you know. So yeah, we'll have a good bit to review when that comes out. And yeah,
for sure.
we're definitely looking forward to it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
Excellent.
Well, thanks very much for watching. And you know, if you like what we're doing, obviously please subscribe to the channel and press the like button and leave any comments. You know, what do you think? Are you excited about this series coming? And we think it's going to be great. You know, let's keep the hope and the alive for a good Star Wars series.
Yes.
we're ever hopeful, aren't we?
Yeah. Never learn our lessons.
No. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and see you later. Bye.